Hey guys, how's it going? So today we're going to be looking at a weapon called the Mk.20 SSR. So the Mk.20 is a marksman rifle with a RPM of 275 and a standard magazine of 20. And this gun is very similar to the Mk.17 and also the Scar H. And I think at this point everyone knows that the M1A is supposedly one of the best or the best marksman rifle in the division, but I'm going to try and contest that with the Mk.20 and my build. Now if we compare the M1A and the Mk.20, you can see that the accuracy and reload speed are better on the Mk.20, but the M1A, as everyone knows it for, has better stability. Another thing to note is that the M1A has a faster RPM by 25 rounds per minute, and it also has a lot more damage. If you can see, my M1A and my Mk.20 are both level 28, but the M1A almost has double the damage per shot. However, they do balance out the damage and RPM with the M1A because it has a small magazine of 10 rounds. However, if you look on the other hand, the Mk.20 has a slightly slower RPM, but it has a magazine of 20 rounds. Now at first glance, you would obviously take the M1A because, well, you have tons of damage, higher rate of fire, and more stability, which are very important things. But I'm confident that once we mod the Mk.20, some of you guys might change your mind completely on which one is better. So when modding the Mk.20, you have to consider the lowest stat, and that is definitely stability. Now with a low stability on a marksman rifle, you can generally not use the weapon to its full RPM because it'll just become way too inaccurate. So for this build and to compete with the M1A, we're going to be focusing on maximum stability. So obviously to bring up the low stability, we're going to want to put this muzzle brake on the barrel, which has 26.5% stability increase. And it also has a 28% critical hit damage, which can only help us. So as you can see on the actual stats area of the gun, this mod actually increases the stability by quite a bit. So after putting on that barrel and we compare the Mk.20 and the M1A actually has all worse stats than the Mk.20 now. The Mk.20 has better stability just with adding one attachment. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, any attachments you add to the Mk.20, you can easily just add to the M1A as well. However, I do have a point to bring up about that because once your stability gets to a certain point, it's pretty much unnoticeable, and so anything past that doesn't really add to any kind of stability at all. In other words, if you met the threshold of the stability where you really don't notice any recoil at all, which is around half the bar, compared to a full bar of stability, you wouldn't really notice the difference at all. And with the M1A having a head start on stability, our only real goal is to meet that threshold with the Mk.20. So we just want to add enough stability mods to where the Mk.20 has very, very low recoil, similar to the M1A. So continuing to mod the weapon, we're going to want to increase the stability once again, and I'm going to choose this grip right here that increases my stability by 21.5%. And another great thing about this attachment is that it increases our accuracy as well. And to start out with, the Mk.20 had even better accuracy than the M1A, so we are actually further increasing that. And so far with the muzzle brake and the small grip we attached, we actually have an additional 48% stability on the Mk.20. And now that we're modding the magazine, this is where the gun really made its turning point for me, and where it really said that it was better than the M1A. Now usually most people put an extended magazine on their weapons because it increases their magazine size, which is obviously very helpful for games like this, where the enemies can take a lot of bullets. However, what's great about having a larger magazine is that percent increase adds a ton more bullets. And in fact, the magazine on the Mk.20 is 20 rounds, which is double that of the M1A. So that means the bonus that we get on this magazine is going to grant double the rounds. So my highest capacity magazine is plus 81% magazine size, and that will throw my magazine size up to 36. Now since I already had the 81% magazine on my MP7, I went ahead and put the 71% on my Mk.20. This still throws my magazine size up to 34, which is only 2 bullets lower than the 36. And now we're modding the optic, and since there isn't really a sight that increases the stability, we're just going to go with the Mk.5 15 times scope, which increases headshot damage and critical hit chance. And this will obviously lead to more damage because it's a sniper rifle, and we're going to be going for headshots anyway. So now if we compare it back to the M1A, we've made some significant leverage. The RPM is higher, the magazine is 3.4 times what the M1A is. We also have better accuracy, better reload speed, and much better stability. Now obviously I realize we're comparing it to a unmodded M1A, but like I said, we don't really even need a higher RPM on the M1A because, we really can't shoot a marksman rifle faster than 335 rounds per minute. Also, no matter what attachment you put on the M1A, you're not going to have a magazine from 10 to get to 34. It's just not possible. That would have to be around a 240% increase in magazine size, and I don't think that really exists. Also, when modding the M1A, we wouldn't nearly reach the accuracy nor the reload speed of the Mk.20, so the Mk.20 is still superior in those areas. And if you put all the stability mods on the M1A, the Mk.20 is still going to seem about the same because of that threshold I talked about. Once you get past a certain point on the stability bar, you really can't notice a difference beyond that. So now that we modded the Mk.20, it's time to test fire and show you guys how much recoil this gun actually has fully modded. So as you saw from that demonstration, we had a little bit of recoil there, some horizontal and some vertical, but it's nothing you can't compensate for. So now if we take off all the mods on this weapon, you're actually going to see how terrible and horrendous the stability originally is. So as you saw from that, we had nearly double the kick from this weapon, and all we had was a muzzle brake and a grip on this weapon that basically toned down the recoil to that of the M1A. Now if we use the M1A in comparison to the Mk.20, and keep in mind we want to compare it with the Mk.20 fully modded, hopefully you guys will actually see a difference here. Now as you saw from that demonstration, I see why people like the M1A. It's because it mostly has no vertical recoil and it has mostly just right recoil. However, in my opinion, vertical recoil is the easiest to control rather than horizontal recoil, even as slight as it may be. Now hopefully you guys see what I'm trying to get at with the Mk.20. This gun has an insane magazine size, and you can get the stability down low enough to really compare it with the M1A. And I want to compare it with the M1A because it's a lot of people's favorite weapon, and I think the Mk.20, if modded correctly, can be just as good or better in many ways. I also wanted to bring this up because I feel like a lot of people thought that the other marksman rifles were inferior to the M1A, and I wanted to show people that they really weren't, and if you modded them differently, you can actually get a really good weapon out of them. So this has been an in-depth guide on the Mk.20 SSR marksman rifle. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and if you did, remember to like, share, and subscribe for daily content, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.